I spent a while trying to come up with some kind of witty intro or something, and couldn't do it. So that's your intro for today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis, with me, Mark. And Elvis is also skulking somewhere in the background, playing with his toys. So if you hear an odd squeak or whatever, that's what it is. So I'm quite excited actually because last night, I did my first ever live session on OnlyFans. No, you thought I was going to say OnlyFans. No. I did my first ever live session on Patreon. And I invited my patrons to join me. And quite a few of them did. And it was great fun. It really was. It was so fantastic to get to know people. Now, a couple of them have YouTube channels, and I know them a bit. But the others are just names on the screen or people who comment on my videos. And it was so lovely to meet them face to face and talk about, their love of books and different things as well. So it was great fun. We went for almost 2 hours until, I had to answer Elvis's call to nature. Yeah. But we're definitely going to do it again. And it brings me to the topic of today's video because it kind of relates to that, which is the fact that I have started, or will be starting in January, a Patreon book club. Yes, I've jumped on the bandwagon. I've sold my soul. But, I wanted to do this. And at the moment, we've got, really friendly group, fantastic group of people. And they've encouraged me to do it, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. But I thought, you might not be interested. Absolutely, if you're not, fine, you can skip over the video. But I thought it'd be remiss of me not to let you know at least what we plan to read from January to March, in case you wanted to join, because you might say afterwards, "Oh, what? I missed out. It sounds so amazing." So we're gonna kick off. Well, actually, sorry. Let me go back a little bit. So what I've decided to do with this book club on Patreon is to offer 2 books a month, 1 fiction and 1 non-fiction. Now, of course, if you join in, you can join in one or the other or both. It doesn't matter. I'm definitely going to read both, and I've synced them a little bit to some of the things that I want to read anyway. So although January is going to be tough because I'm going to be reading War and Peace, it's not part of that book club, but I think I'll be able to manage it somehow. Definitely be able to manage it. So what I've decided to do, as I say, is offer 2 choices a month. And so far I've gone through the first 3 months of the year. So that means there are 6 books on offer. 3 fiction and 3 non-fiction. Now, I don't have physical copies of all of them. Some of them I will read as ebooks. Thank you, Elvis. If you want to see him, you can see him. He's down here. There he is. Hello, Elvis. So, the first one is by an author who is quite well known, especially in the UK, although I've never read any of her work. And it's the author Zadie Smith and her book, The Fraud. So this we're going to kick off in January. And the book is a historical fiction novel, her first historical novel, I believe. And it's all based around a fascinating court case that took place in Britain during the 1860s and 70s, involving a young aristocrat who went away on a ship. The ship sank, and he went down with the ship probably, but his mother refused to believe it, and she kept posting these rewards for information about him. And then 20 years later, this man turned up pretending or purporting to be her son, and even though he was absolutely nothing like her son at all. But she accepted him as her son. So maybe it was she was desperate to, or whatever. I don't know the reason behind it. But one thing led to another, which led to a big civil court case that went on to be a criminal court case. And apparently this absolutely captivated people during the mid to late Victorian era. And Zadie Smith heard about it, and she wrote a novel somehow based around it. And this is the novel, and this is the fiction pick for January on the Book Time with Elvis Patreon book club. I heard about it through the podcast, The Rest is History, where they were talking about the court case, and they had Zadie Smith on as a guest. Now, the non-fiction pick is something I'm reading for Historathon 2024, a year-long event celebrating historical non-fiction. And the first quarter of the year, January to March, is ancient history, pretty much prehistory to the year 500 AD. And so the book club pick that encompasses that range is Toby Wilkinson's, right there, The Lives of Ancient Egyptians. And it is basically a collection of real life stories of ordinary, well, not all ordinary, I think, but a lot of ordinary Egyptians. So it should be quite fascinating. I think I can read the back to you if you like. What was it really like to live in the Nile Valley centuries ago? In tracing the lives of the individuals whose names endure in tombs, temples, and texts, Toby Wilkinson reveals the true character and diversity of one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. As I mentioned, he'll talk about some of the well-known people, but he'll also illuminate the lives of ordinary men and women whom history so rarely gives their own voice, including doctors and dentists, sculptors and sailors, farmers, musicians, and a priestess whose stories offer us unprecedented eyewitness accounts of ancient Egypt and its spectacular achievements. So it sounds fascinating, I think, and this is, as I say, the non-fiction pick for the book club in January. So we have The Fraud by Zadie Smith as the fiction, and Lives of Ancient Egyptians as our non-fiction pick. Now for February, for fiction, we are doing a classic, and one of the classics that I wanted to get read during the course of 2024, and it is Ivan Goncharov's Oblomov. So this will be the fiction pick for February in the Patreon book club. And the non-fiction pick is one I've been wanting to read for a long time, and was recently reminded of it on Steve Donohue's channel, and it is Edith Hamilton's The Greek Way. So she looks at ancient Greece. Edith Hamilton was a former school teacher. When she was retired, she went into a lot of history writing. She wrote The Greek Way, The Roman Way, etc., as well as a big book on Greek myths. It was published in the 1930s, so I imagine, of course, that the scholarship is probably somewhat out of date, but it will be, I think, a fun and interesting read. And of course, it's also available in the public domain in Canada. But you can get it on the website fadedpages.com if it's something you would like to read. Now, moving into March, the March pick for fiction is going to cover March Mystery Madness as well as March of the Mammoths, because it's over 800 pages, and it allows me to tick off some more Dickens, and it will be Bleak House there by Charles Dickens will be the fiction pick for March. I'm sure many of you have read it, but I haven't, and I really want to, and the book club seemed happy with it as well, so I think that would be great fun to read that. And the non-fiction pick, I'm moving away kind of from history and going more into natural history with the March non-fiction pick of Tim Burkhead's The Birds and Us. A 12,000-year history from cave art to conservation. So it's looking at a natural history of birds, and it's also entwined with Birkhead's own reminiscences of his career studying birds, and I think that would be absolutely fascinating and wonderful. So there you have it. Those are the Patreon book club picks for January through till March. So should you want to join in, you can go to my Patreon in the link below, and you can of course get a week's free trial to see if it's something that takes your fancy. If not, it's understandable. Times are hard. I understand that. That's fine. There will be other reads throughout the year that I'll be participating in as part of a wider group, so you won't need to sign up to Patreon for those things. But I just thought this would be nice, and as I say, I was encouraged by my wonderful patrons that you see behind me on the screen to do something like this. And of course, we will wrap up each month with a live discussion about the book amongst everybody who read it, who is able to join in that live on Patreon. And because it's on Patreon, it will be private only to the members. So if you're somebody who's camera shy and don't want to be like broadcast on YouTube, you won't be. So there we have it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you all soon. All the best. Bye.